So why I'm a fan of the front squats is because mainly it targets your quads a lot better. Back squat, it targets your quads, but also recruits your hamstrings and your quads at the same time, and your hips as well. Front squat it targets a lot more of just your quads, so I'm a big fan of it because of that. You'll see also when you're doing a front squat, you use your posterior chain, meaning your back, so you have to focus on keeping a strong, tight back, and it also recruits your back in it as well. So you'll see how weak your lower and upper back is, as well as your wrists. So you'll see how mobile your wrists are and your shoulders as well. And why I like doing the bench press in a pause rep kind of position where the rack is like that is because it allows you to see where your deficiencies are in a bench. So where you're pushing up in your right or left side more, where are you coming down? Are you coming down nice and controlled and slow in a straight line? Are you coming down lopsided? Also allows you to generate force and power on the push on the way up. You learn to brace your core, and bracing your core to exert force out on the way up. The unsupported row I just like because it works your posterior chain, it works your whole upper and lower back. With the unsupported row, you're not, holding onto a bench, you're not on a machine. It's just, you're standing up, got to keep it straight back, got to keep your chest up. So it just works on posterior chain and good posture. Medicine ball curl. Now, if you're an athlete, these are great. It works your hamstrings and it works bracing your core as well as your hips as well. So you'll see if you can't do a medicine ball curl, you'll probably be able to see that your hips aren't strong enough and your core is not strong enough. So those are two areas that you need to improve on if you're not able to do a medicine ball curl. You'll see when you curl up and you come back down, it has to be slow and controlled. And if you can't get that ball, your leg straight on the way down, that means you have some issues in your hips and your core that you'll need to address right away instead of just doing these sloppily. And you'll see your hips shoot up. So if I'm an athlete, I'm going to replace these medicine ball curls with a hip thrust, and you'll even see me do a hip thrust later in this video. And I'm not a big fan of hip thrust. I just threw these in later on in this workout is because I was at a new gym and I didn't really have much to work with. The hex bar deadlift is an exercise that you've seen me do multiple times. This one was a little different. There were no top handles, so it was just the lower handles. So I had to get real low and really, really make sure you're exploding and pushing out through the legs. So that's the reason why I love the hex bar deadlift. Hands down, the best full body movement that there is that you can do. If you can do a hex bar deadlift and you're an athlete, do it because it works your lower body, it works your posterior chain, it works your upper body, it works every single part of your body, and it's just one movement. So it has a lot of carryover and it's perfect for athletes. The landmine press, another movement that I like, it allows me to engage my core, make sure I'm not using my back too much, and it's a really good movement to generate force and power and replicate how to, brace and push, brace and push, brace and push. So I really like the landmine press. Plus, it's really easy on shoulders if you have pretty bad shoulders. The hip thrust we won't talk about much because, I'm not really a big fan of them. I just don't do this exercise much because I don't see much use in it in my day-to-day activity. So, or in much carryover to anything else besides, building a butt and your hamstrings. So, I'm not just going to talk about that too much. The landmine rotational movement that I'm working on here, I don't typically do these either, but I do try and work on one anti-rotational and core movement every single exercise that I do. And these are a great one to work on shoulder health, to work on making sure your core stabilized, make sure you're engaging your core, making sure you have good balance, making sure that you're able to rotate side to side, especially as an athlete. And then so in this video, you saw me do a front squat and hex bar deadlift. I threw in the other movements and talked a little about why I do all these movements in the exercise, but I want to focus on the hex bar deadlift and the front squat. The reason why these movements are staples, so my training and programming has changed a little bit. I don't necessarily follow anything like I know on upper body. I do this workout Monday, this workout Tuesday, this workout Wednesday, this workout Thursday, etc., etc. I mainly focus my workouts on a front squat, a hex bar deadlift. Every single week, I do both of those movements 2 times a week, every single week. And the reason why I do that is because I believe that one, for athletic performance, it's helpful, and two, everyday performance, it's helpful. And I just throw in other movements within the that workout to help with one, functional fitness, functional performance, functional training, as well as sports performance, sports training. So you'll see me do exercises like that rack bench press. That's for sports performance mainly. You'll see me do exercises like a landmine press, sports slash functional performance. So I mainly that's the way I train, but I focus my training on that. And I see a lot of people, they spin the wheel over and over again, trying to figure out, what program should I do? What do I do? I don't know what to do anymore. I finished this program, etc., etc. Pick two movements that you love and you want to get better in, and just work on those, and then throw in 3 to 4 accessory movements that you want to get better in and want to improve in, and work on those. Programming and training is so overcomplicated nowadays. People think they need to do upper body, lower body, etc. They need to do back buys, chest tries. They need to do push pull legs. They need to do upper lower. It's really not. It's we need to train for performance this day, functional fitness this day, bodybuilding this day, like power building. It's powerlifting. It's all this crazy stuff. To simplify it, if you're not going for a competition, if you're not going for a physique thing, if you're not going for, I don't know, powerlifting competition, strongman, CrossFit competition, I don't know what it is, whatever you're going, if you don't have a goal in mind right now, pick two movements and master them, and try and be the best you can at those movements. So for me, it's just front squat and a hex bar deadlift. You've probably seen in every single video I've ever posted a front squat and a hex bar deadlift. Why? Because those are two movements I'm trying to specialize in and I want to get better in. So don't overcomplicate training. Make it simple for yourself. Do movements you love and enjoy being in the gym.